Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for accepting my invitation and accepting to be on my show.
Not a problem, not a problem. Looks like you're doing some good stuff there, learning from people all over the world. Nice.
I'm trying to. So, I thought to introduce you to my audience. I have gone through your profile and you are a solution architect and you're from South Africa.
Yes, that is correct. What would you like me to explain to you? Well, just a little bit more about me.
So, your name and your background and where you work and what is your what you are present.
Okay, so my name is Mo Isup. I'm from South Africa. I've been in IT plus minus 16 years. I've been in solutions architecture for around 7 years. Um, Initially starting in desktop support. Obviously started off as an intern, doing all the dirty work, taking apart desktops, laptops, putting them back together. We all have to start somewhere. And the initial dream when starting in IT, although I did study development, the initial dream was to become an infrastructure architect. But as the years have gone on, as IT has evolved, I've also had to evolve. But still got into architecture, got into solutions architecture, designing solutions on the Microsoft platform, whether that be on Office 365 or .NET solutions. Also now trying to get more involved in sort of Azure, because that sort of takes me back to my roots, takes me back to infrastructure. Um, so yeah, currently I am freelancing. Uh, I'm not attached to any company currently, so I do freelance work. I've found quite a nice platform, Upwork, which is serving me quite well currently. So keeping myself busy until who knows what the future holds. I mean, it's ever evolving currently. So yeah, that's something about me. That's work. Oh yeah. So
That's awesome, and you started somewhere with very small thing, and now you are a solution architect, and you worked as a solution architect for 7 years.
yeah. So what happens is it's there's a lot of certifications out there currently. I mean, you have your solutions architecture certifications for Azure. You have them for AWS. So a lot of people think that, hey, I've got this, that makes me an architect. Um, it takes a lot of work going in to be an architect. It's learning every day, and some of it has to start at the bottom. You have to understand what you are building. Sometimes you can build a solution from a high level and not understand the intricacies of your operational team building that solution and putting that solution together. So you would be able to sit in front of your C-level executives and sell them this beautiful solution because you've gone and you've read up on all of the latest technologies and you know all the latest technologies, and but you've not worked through a lot of them. You haven't worked through them and seen, oh, so I've got certain guidelines from either AWS or Microsoft. Have you actually put that into place? Have you done POCs on that? Have you seen the issues that can come up when you do try to implement those solutions in a specific way? So it's always good to have done the groundwork, and you can ever evolve with those technologies as long as you've got that good grounding and that foundation. So you've been in the trenches. Once you've been in the trenches and you understand, so you've been given instructions from solutions architects before. You must take all of that on board, whether it be good or bad. Take all of that on board as you're growing to become a solutions architect, if that is your goal. Take all of that on board and keep that, be cognizant of that when you've developed into the role of a solutions architect, and when you want to then develop solutions, you have an understanding for the type of work that gets put in by the operational part of it. And you know a lot of things you think that solutions architecture is very technical, your technical aptitude. You also have to have quite a good EQ, um, and your EQ has to come with being able to persuade your peers, being able to persuade your C-level executives, and then being able to pass that information through your operational team correctly. You'd also like to be. I think a big part of it is also mentoring and being there and being able to not only just throw a solution down on paper and walk away from it, being able to. For me, I'd like to be able to sort of step in if there is an issue, because sometimes the solutions you put down because you're ahead of the curve, your operational team might not be up to date with the technology because of circumstance, because of, I mean, we all don't get to work with the latest and greatest technologies, but we want to, but we don't have the opportunity to. So you also, it comes with understanding your team as well. So, um, like I said, as a solutions architect, it's not only technical. You have to understand the team that you have that's delivering the solutions that you're building. What's their strengths? What's their weaknesses? Once you understand that, when you build a solution, you have that in mind. Will they be able to take on the new technology that I'm putting down? Will they be able to evolve the technologies that we're currently using? So I think a lot of people miss that when they think about solution and designing or being a solutions architect. Yes, I know everything, or in a certain domain or a certain space. What I put down, that's the end all and be all. And here it is, go ahead and design this. If there's a problem, there's something wrong with you, not with the solution, which I think is not the way it should be done. And I think people are evolving, and you'll see that, I think, in all aspects of working environments currently, and you can see with what COVID has done, um, and how people are now working remotely, and how everything has been taken on with thinking about putting people first before anything else. Like now, it's become people's health concerns, and as we grow in this day and age, when people start developing mental health issues, and before this, all of this wasn't talked about, and all of this becomes a part of it. It's like I said, there's so much more to it, especially when you're in a role of leadership. And you might not think of it as, when it comes to solution architect, but you are in that leadership role, and you have to be very, very cognizant of people and the people you are working with in order to deliver a solution. So it's for me, it's much more than just being technical. Knowing your frameworks, knowing your technologies, being able to document that well. Oh yeah, it's not as glamorous as it sounds. There's a lot of documentation when it comes to solutions architecture. So everyone's going out there, be ready for lots and lots of documentation. Well documented solution is much easier. Um, it's it helps a lot. Try and document everything, even if you have drafts. Keep your drafts, keep templates going forward. Um, yeah, reuse stuff. Try and reuse a lot of what you've learned. An important part that people forget is the follow up. Once you've completed a solution, is to go back and look at the failures and successes of that solution. Uh, it's all well and good that, hey, the overall project has been a success, but there had to be speed bumps on the road. So keep writing those down and try to avoid those in future. Just some of the lessons that you'll learn along the way. What would they call it? The lessons learned document. And lots of people forget about that, because once one project is over, you quickly move on to the next project. Or as a solutions architect, you're working across multiple projects at the same time. So yeah.
So what is solution architect?
What is it?
Yeah.
Interesting. So, how can I put it in layman's terms? It's, if you look if you look at architecture, what is an architect? Okay, if you look at an architect is the guy that builds the drawings that give you the outline of what the house should look like or what a building should look like. Tells you the key components that you should be using, the materials that you should be using, what beams you should be using, where the beam should be placed, you know, what angle a specific wall should be, where the retaining wall should be, where the supporting wall should be. So to translate that into solutions, you basically have a whole lot of technologies out there. And like a client would like a prospective client would come to you and say, I want you to build me a house, and then the architect would design it. So you go to a client, the client comes to the solutions architect, sits in with the client, and the client explains to them, we want to build a certain solution, whatever solution that may be, an ERP solution, a payment solution, whatever that is that might fit their business needs, a leave application solution. There's plenty of solutions. So you take what they are saying, you look at, so you get focused on certain technologies, and then you get solutions architects that are technology agnostic. For the purposes, I'm mainly Microsoft, looking to branch out more into AWS as well, but I like to look at different technologies, but my current situation is Microsoft. So I look at a Microsoft technology. I'd see what their needs are. I'd see what Microsoft has that best fits their needs. And then maybe it might be multiple Microsoft products that would fit their needs. So I'd look at those products and I would then document how those products fit together, which parts of those products fit together to best build the actual solution, the actual outcome that the client needs. So I would then provide that sort of architectural document saying we would use product A, B, and C. Product A would then cater for this requirement that you need. This is how we will fulfill this requirement, A, B, C, and D. Then I would then create my more low-level documentation, which I would then give to the operational team, who would then look at that product and then explain to them, okay, this is maybe the coding language that we'd use, because we'd have to set a precedent, we'd have to set a standard. I can't just have everybody going and doing whatever it is they need. So it explained to them, hey, this is the language that we'll be using. This is the way I want you to build the solution. I want it to be object orientated. And so I bridge the gap between technology and the client, and business and the operational. So I have to understand business terms. I have to get involved in understanding business processes, changing those looking at those business processes and looking at what products can best fit for those business processes, and passing it on to the operational team and giving them enough information and enough guidelines, providing them with the right guidelines and the right frameworks in order for them to then be able and to go and execute my commands, essentially. So I try and leave a little bit of leeway for them to free think and change the solution, but I wouldn't want that too much, because then there comes in scope creep, where stuff that you haven't planned for. So that's why to have detailed documentation, especially your low-level documentation when providing it for your operational staff, is then, like I said, well-detailed documentation. So it's a bridge and a gap that talks. I understand coding languages, whereas the client doesn't understand it. So I can then explain in coding terms what needs to be done, whereas I've just got it from development, where I've just got it from the client. So I can translate back and forth, sort of an interpreter, if you will, of because they do speak different languages, operational level and at a business level. They are so. And as you get into it, I'm not sure how much experience that you've had in the field yet, or who you've dealt with, or in terms of face clients, are you in an operational role? And once you go through it, you'll be able to understand more or less. That's you need that in between. Yeah.
In your 7 years as a solutions architect, I'm sure you have faced a lot of clients with a lot of requirements.
Yeah, they've been quite a few. Yes.
Right? Can you mention some and can you explain them?
So where do I start? So I mean, I can explain to you different types of solutions that I've had to design. So recently, in terms of let's have a look at Azure Infrastructure. You have clients that have on-premise servers where they have their Active Directory, Exchange, and custom applications, or maybe other Microsoft applications, and they then want to move from the on-premise and now move into the cloud. So it would be having a look at what they have on-premise, matching that up to what's in the cloud, whether they are going to go lift and shift. So a lift and shift operation would be, okay, I have a server on-premise with so many gigs of RAM, so many CPUs. So I take that and go get the exact compute in Azure and then provide them a costing for that and around that. So I have to look at all of that. I have to take what they have on-premise. I have to look what's available in the cloud. So some of the other options are with Microsoft SQL. So I wouldn't take, so if they have an on-premise Microsoft SQL, I wouldn't take that and put it in a virtual machine and then install SQL Server on it. I'd look at the software as a service, which is SQL that Azure does have. So I then propose that to them and show them cost savings on that. It might not only be cost savings, it might be maintenance savings. It might be an administrator, less administration on the back end when it comes to servers, updating of your server OSs and your patching. So you have to detail. So in one aspect, it's cost. Another aspect is maintenance of it. So that's just an infrastructure solution. There's other solutions to build intranets for clients on a specific platform like SharePoint. So you'd go in, a client would want, okay, I need an intranet. Okay, currently the most common platform that we use is SharePoint. It's got a lot of out-of-the-box functionality that's quite viable. And Microsoft are currently adding lots and lots of add-ons. They doing quite a good job in listening to the community out there, or their users or their client base currently, and they are evolving their technology. So again, you'd sit in meetings with the client. You'd go through design phases. You'd have to see what technologies you're using in those design phases, whether you're using the latest frameworks to build some of the custom, because it might not cater for, it might give them 80% of what they want, and there's a 20% that you then have to discuss with them, get specifications on them, see what coding languages you're going to be using, the frameworks you're going to be using, and then put all of that down and then design that, and then go back. You'd have separate teams. You'd have a design team. So in that aspect, you'd have a design team that would then only do your UI, your user interface, and your user experience. And then you'd still have to go and speak to your development team, who would then do the development of those specific web parts, as it is, or those add-ons that they need. Previously, if you did an on-premise installation of this, you'd also need your infrastructure to get involved. But currently, if you're working in the cloud in Office 365, you sort of shed one layer of it, and it sort of makes it a little easier. Because with infrastructure, there comes a whole lot of other aspects. There comes your your backups, your retention, your high availability, disaster recovery, which is more or less of a hassle once you move to the cloud. There's less to think of than doing it on premise. So there's quite a bit. It's a lot. It's a lot. You have domain experts. I mean, you have solutions architects in Java, in .NET, in infrastructure, in Office 365. In Azure, you have solutions architect within specific domains within Azure. I mean, it's it can become much as well. So pick one that suits you best and go for it. I mean, if development's your niche, move forward thinking into a solutions architect for specific software, for specific coding language. If infrastructure is something you want to look at, go into that. If you want to be designing business intelligence solutions, move into that. There's quite a bit. I mean, you also get sort of solutions architects in certain how can I put it, in certain industries, like retail industries, solutions architects in retail industries, because they understand what retailers use, like your supermarkets, your supermarket chains. So you get people that can understand their supply chain management. So they might specialize in those sort of solution designs, but not really any technology, but just along those. Maybe your petrochemical industries use specific software, or if and design solutions for them, and you can take it from petrochemical corporate to petrochemical corporate. You can use the same solutions, maybe different technologies, but you understand how they work, so you can provide solutions around how they work. Because sometimes as a solutions architect, when you get into different industries, you first have to understand your client, understand what it is that they're trying to do in the process, not just going and listening to your client where they're saying, this is how we do this, and now we have this form, and now we want to digitize this form. Okay, wait, let's understand your process. Is it one form? Is it 20 forms? How can we automate the process? So you also have to take that, because it's not sometimes all the time that the client knows exactly what they want. They hear buzzwords going around: digitization, cloud, modernization, digital workplace, digital workspace. So you have to try and also understand their business, not just throw technology at a solution. Taking a perfect example is taking a paper-based form and just throwing it onto a computer and saying, hey, this has become a better form because it's digitized. No. How can I pull information? Maybe if I log onto that form, it pre-populates my data. If I select certain values, it then starts to pre-populate the form with other specified data. So then you have to understand the business and what they are trying to do and trying to achieve as well. And you get, like I said, you get certain specialists that already know, hey, if I'm in retail, this is what retailers are looking for. So they already understand that business and can provide better solutions. So there's a lot of aspects to it. So it's not just saying I'm a solutions architect. Hey, I know everything. I mean, I specialize in what I specialize in. There's much better architects out there, solutions architects in their fields and their niches. And not all solutions architects see eye to eye. We all have differing opinions on different technologies, on why we should be using different technologies. Some will live by AWS as a cloud solution, others Google Cloud Services, others Azure. It's different coding languages. Some will swear by Java, some will swear by C#. It's preferences. That's why I say there's those soft skills, those EQs, where when you're providing a solution as well, especially with your peers, you need to be able to sell that solution to them and why it is that you're using it. It's not sometimes just being technical, and even though your solution is technically sound, you can have the best reasoning and all of the best specifications, and you still might not be able to sell it because of the EQ coming across. So there might be a sales aspect to solutions architect as well, because you are trying to sell your solution sometimes at the end of the day. So yeah.
So is it important for a solution architect to have a knowledge about coding, programming?
If you are going into a development solutions architect, so if you're going to be designing coding solutions, you're going to be designing .NET solutions and Java solutions, because yes, you do need to come from a coding background. You do need to understand the coding concepts. It would help if you spent a year or 2 or 3. As I said, it's nice to get your hands dirty. So you can also understand what it's like when you design a solution and you put that solution to your developers. You've come from that experience, and you know what goes into it. There's some aspects where you'd also have to create timelines on the project. How long is this project going to take? Costing models around the project. And if you haven't done the work, how are you to assume how long it's going to take? You can get your senior developer in and he'll tell you it'll take 3 days. But you can remember, hey, when I was doing this, it used to only take me 2 days. Why is it taking him 3 days now? And there's newer technologies and also it helps to stay abreast of technologies, because you have to say, hey, wait a minute, there's newer technologies that already come with specific templates for that. So it should take you a day now, not 3 days. It does. In my it does help. So yeah.
So if a person completed the solution architect, did the certification, how he's going to get into a company, and what are the things that a recruiter looks to get to take him?
Firstly, experience. Experience plays a big part. So you need to have a certain years of experience. I think they'll look sometimes between 5 to 7 years of experience, of architectural experience, which is not easy. I remember the days in order to become anywhere close to an architect, you had to be in the industry for 10 years, which is not the case now. So my best bet would be, if you start as a starter before you even get there, you should be looking to be working towards an architectural role. So if you're a software developer, let's just say you get into software development, then you start looking out there at the courses. Right now, you have the ability to do these certifications quite early on in your career, sometimes before even getting hands-on experience with any of the technologies. You can go through and certify yourself. There's lots of courses out there that can help you, assist you through it, but you never have the real technical hands-on experience. But like I say, go through the whole process of what type of solutions architect you want to be in the first place, and try and work yourself into a position where you can gain experience in that field. Like if it's coding, gain experience in that field, move through the stages of a junior developer, senior developer, team lead, and from there the progression would be to go into a solutions architect. So as a solutions architect as well, don't get it confused, because a lot of people seem to get it confused that as a solutions architect, part of your job is to also go in there and code, especially as a software solutions architect, which is not the case. You should be able to explain the concepts. You should be able to step in and do some of the technical work when there's an issue, but not necessarily be involved in the delivery of the project when it comes to actual coding. So people will ask you. So once you're in those interviews, they're going to ask you about your experience. They're going to ask you about how many years have you spent doing A, B, C, and D. Some of the other questions that they'll ask you is, name me the latest project that you worked on. Explain to me how you were able to sell the solution to the client. How did you then design the solution? Explain to me the steps from the time you designed the solution. How did it go through the different phases until delivery and successful delivery of the project? Explain to me a time where you were in a project that failed. So these are some of the questions that you could be asked. Sometimes when it comes to solutions architect as well, you could in an interview question, they could ask you about a specific problem. So they'll send you maybe a question. Client A has a specific problem. How would you go about resolving this problem? And then they'd give you some time to go back. You'd have a look at the problem that's in front of you, and then you'd go ahead with all of your knowledge and design a solution. So you'd essentially then put the documentation together as you would do it in a real life situation. You'd put all the documentation together with all of your design documentation, all of your reasoning as to why technology has been used. You'd follow one of your frameworks, your TOGAF frameworks, when building out all of those documentation, and then you provide that. So that would be part of your interview process. You know, it won't be a massive project. It would just to see if you understand the fundamentals and how you can actually put a solution together. So those are like some of the interview questions. Then they'd ask you about certain technology stacks as well. I suppose it's sort of a predicament, because sometimes the interviews, when you go in as a solutions architect as well, it becomes sometimes difficult for them to interview you, unless it's like a panel of maybe solutions architects that are interviewing you, and maybe you're going in on the same level. But as a solutions architect, you are the go-to person, so you should have a strong technical background. So imagine being interviewed by let's say the CTO, because that's where you're going to be interviewed, and their technical knowledge is maybe years back, you know, not as up to date as yours. They have an understanding, but you have a deeper technical understanding. So how are they going to interview you on that deeper level, you know, of understanding? So one of the best ways is that scenario based. So you give them a scenario and you let them go and work on that scenario and then present that solution to you. So you, like the client, I want you to sell the solution to me, because that's what they're going to be doing. So those are some of the interview types that you will be having. Yeah, some of them do get quite technical if you are interviewed in like a panel of solution architects as well, which is interesting. But yeah.
So, any experience of yours like this, asking your superior selling a solution?
What do you mean? So
Have you ever asked this question? Can you sell the solution?
yes, I have been asked that recently. So yeah, it is. So sometimes as a solutions document, you go in, people have an idea of what it is that they do want. They are leaning towards specific technologies. So sometimes you don't have to do a lot of selling. There's also other phases that you have in there where you have your pre-sales. So pre-sales are the guys that go out hunting for business. They get clients, and they've already sold somewhat of a solution to the client, some specific product or some specific solution that we're going to solve. The solutions architect, you come in there and expand on that, and you put all the nuts and bolts together. They might have said, okay, this product will solve this problem for you. Yes, done. Okay, so the client is sold on that. So you go in, and then you also have to make it work. So sometimes the pre-sales guys take it in with you. When the client gets a bit too technical, then you're there to stand besides them and then explain. So there is an aspect of selling the solution, but also not. But it's also selling concepts that you have for a solution. Why do you want to do it in a specific way? Why are we changing? We've been doing it this way for the last 5 years. Why are we now changing it. Maybe there's new technology that's evolved. It's an easier way to do it. One way you can sell the solution is by being very smooth, by having that EQ where you can convince people. Another way is by doing it physically, by actually going out there and doing a proof of concept. So putting something out there that's workable, that demonstrates that what you are speaking about, this is how it can actually function. So a large part is also being able to develop proof of concept. So that's why like you said, if you needed to know coding, yes. So if you want to develop a proof of concept for coding, it's nice to know that, because you don't involve it. You can go and actually build that proof of concept for yourself. And you can also see what sort of work, what sort of the type of graft that actually goes into that. And then you can sell a solution based on your proof of concept, based on EQ. There's different ways of selling it. Proof of concept is probably one of the best ways. So yeah.
Can you share the toughest situation that you faced as a solution architect?
I suppose the toughest situations I faced is ever-changing clients, ever-changing needs, and evolving needs. And I suppose as solutions architects nowadays, it's tough with all of the information out there on the internet. Everybody nowadays is an expert at everything. I've read this on the internet because it does A, B, C, and D. And I've read this, and we want this because I've read an article on the internet. And I suppose you get run into clients like those who have read a little bit about a little bit, and they want certain things to be implemented. And you trying to explain to them years of working with specific products and choosing specific goals and what current technologies are. They're not ready for what we need them to evolve to, but we can work towards it. Sometimes that proves really difficult when you have, because as a solutions architect, you have to be stern in your beliefs, and you also have to be robust. There's a little bit of flexibility, but I mean, you're building a solution. You have to be able to stand strong in what you build. And then you run into headstrong clients who want things in a certain way. And you're trying to explain to them that it shouldn't be that way. Technology doesn't allow it for that. And if we're trying to do it, we're working out of bounds or out of the framework of the best use case of the technology. And there are many of examples of that happening to me. And you butt heads with clients. Sometimes it comes with your operations team, where you might have proposed a technology that they're not comfortable working with, or they just don't want to move into a new technology space, and they'd rather just go back and tend to do it the old ways. So there's a lot of moving parts when it comes to a solution, to you getting a solution or ending the project on a positive note. It's not just having the best solution and the best documentation out there. It's about managing the expectations of your clients as to why you're using technologies. It's about being able to understand your delivery team and how they can deliver and what the expectations for delivery are. So when you have to keep all of this into consideration, and these become difficult at times. Obviously, as a solutions architect, you walk away from it at a certain point where you have other business units that then handle it, your project management, your operational leads. But for me personally, I mean, project success is something you want as a solutions architect, and you try to build it so you incorporate all these pieces, and you try to make sure that all of them are well catered for. From managing business expectations of what your solution delivery will be. You wouldn't want to put something in the documentation that you can't deliver. You'd always want to draw them a picture and then explain that picture in words, that when the solution is actually delivered, it's not like, but this is not what we asked for, this is not what you showed us. And there have been a couple of times where that has got lost in translation, and that becomes difficult as well. So documentation, delivery to the client, and sign off, sign off, sign off, sign off. Make sure there's lots of sign off to say, yes, we agree that this is what will be delivered. So yeah.
So you're enjoying the job?
Yep, I do. There's good days and there's bad days. There's I suppose like with anything, but mostly enjoyable. Seeing projects through to success that brings quite it's fulfilling. Others have failed. Other projects have failed. You've delivered, but it hasn't been up to spec. I mean, those are bad days. Misinterpretations have happened somewhere along the line. You live, you learn. Some days you run into really difficult clients. But most of it's been good. It's enjoyable. It's ever learning. One of the things is you never stop learning, because you always have to be up to date with technology. Maybe sometimes, ahead of technology. If you want to put it that way, you have to see beyond what technology is out there, and I suppose a lot of people don't see that. As a solutions architect, it's nice to take all the technology you have on hand and try to be able to build a solution. But what I like about it gives me ability, or what I like about what I do is the ability to forward think about seeing where can this eventually lead to, besides what we have today, and where can we end up with technology. And sometimes it's nice to put that out there. Sometimes it's not always welcomed by people because they don't see your vision. They only see what's in front of them and others. But still, it's nice to write those visions down sometimes and see what happens. I've seen a few of them come to pass with other technologies. And but like I say, it's a nice space. It's a really good place to be. But if you love something, you love it. But like good days, bad days, I'm not going to tell you that everything I've done was a success, because that would be a total lie. If anybody tells you that, everything they've put down was a total success, good, okay, cool, that's perfect, because that we all know that doesn't happen, And like I said, just learn from those experiences, because you only learn when you fail. You never learn when everything is a success. And like I said, even if something is a success, go back and look at what could have been done better as well. Don't think just because it's a success that everything worked well. Maybe there was one person in the team that wasn't happy because of something that was done, or the way the work was carried out, or something, or something in your solution design was like, the way you did it just didn't appeal to them, or it didn't come across well enough to them. Maybe go and look at that and try and improve and understand your audience a bit more. So yeah, there's always something to learn from that. So yeah.
So is it important for a solution architect to have in-depth knowledge about all the services that is there in the store?
That it's in depth into everything. Ooh, that's a lot. Your knowledge should be well rounded, and you should have a lot of depth to your knowledge. In what you're specifically dealing with in your domain of solutions architect, yes, you should have a very deep knowledge of it. If you're doing development solutions architect, if you're designing, you should sort of have a little understanding about infrastructure, security, around networks. Not deep, but you should be able to understand enough to then be able to speak with someone who is then a domain specialist in terms of networking or security. But yes, in your field, in what you're doing, if you're choosing like a product like Office 365, you want to build solutions around that, or you want to. build solutions around .NET architecture, yes, you should have a deep understanding in terms of that. You should be able to know exactly what you're talking about, when you're talking about it. If you ask anything about it, you should then be able to answer. Whether it be on a high level, you should still be able to answer any question around that. Sometimes you can sort of forgo actually getting down and dirty and being able to do the coding, but you should be able to answer questions around whether it's a yes or no possible, not how you're going to do, like essentially how you're going to code word for word the syntax of the code, but you should be able to say that it is possible or not possible, and you should be able to back that up. So again, when you say deep understanding technique, it's different, but yes, you do need to have a deep understanding.
Do you have unanswerable questions as a cloud solution architect?
Unanswerable.
Yes.
Like, are there questions that I cannot answer, or are there questions that what are you? Is that what you're getting at? Because
I mean, most of the things that you see that don't have answers that you felt.
so yeah, so obviously there's a couple of ways you look at that. So I can't know everything, and again, if you know everything, then hey, good to you. But there are certain limitations, and the cloud is evolving every day, and we're learning new things every day. If you're working around a good team of specialists, so you're all specialists, what you need to take on board as a solutions architect as well, you're always learning. I can learn something new from somebody that's a developer or somebody that's an engineer. I don't only learn things that from people that are on my level or on a higher level. You learn from everyone, and you learn new things. So always take on board, have discussions. So the best part is having discussions with your peers, having discussions with the people that you work with, having discussions around technology. Having discussions with different clients, with how people use the cloud different, or technologies. Let's not just say cloud, but technologies differently, and especially technologies that you work with. Obviously, there'll be times that maybe you can't remember something. We all not computers. We can't remember everything about everything all the time. Especially when it comes to cloud, sometimes you work in a specific area of the cloud and you don't work on certain other aspects of it, and you might not know it. And there's no harm in saying, hey, wait, you know what? I know a little bit about this, but I'm not enough to give you a specific answer right now. Let me go back and research it. And by researching it, you're either going through the documentation that you have online, you're either speaking to a peer that has more knowledge than you on it, somebody else that's worked on it, you go review a previous project case on it. So yes, saying I don't know something, don't be afraid to say that. Don't be afraid to say, I have to go back and read and get more information on this. Maybe it's something that somebody else read up on. Like I said, somebody else read up about a technology on the internet. And it just might be something that's in preview that's going to be released and they want it now. And you've been caught up in some other projects. You might not have had the time to read up on that. It's okay to say, hey, wait, let me go back and understand it a bit more before I can provide an answer. That's better to do than just provide an answer, out of thin air. So it's you can't say I don't know. It's not a bad. It doesn't mean anything's wrong with you. Yeah.
So have you seen people who got mental issues because of being a solution architect?
That's interesting. That's interesting. It boils down to a lot of things. I mean, you can be a desktop support engineer and you can have mental issues. It's the environment that you work in. It's the people that you work around. Solutions architecture is also not like a 9 to 5. I'm going into the office 9 to 5. When I knock off, it's over. It's a lot of hours that go into it. Sometimes you spend a lot of your times in meetings during the day, with clients discussing, with your operational team trying to explain to them solutions. And where's the time to do the documentation? It's after hours. You spend a lot of time after hours doing documentation, sometimes prepping for proof of concepts. I mean, sometimes you're working through the night just to get something out ready to be able to do a proof of concept the next day. It's taxing. It's taxing, and yes, people have burnt out. Uh, it can burn you out quite quickly if you're not managing and if you don't have a lot of support around you. You can burn out quite quickly, especially. Yeah, you can. And I've seen people, I've had my moments as well of burnout. I mean, it does take its toll on you. The best advice I can give is take breaks in between. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to also say, I have too much on my plate. And people seem to forget that because they think that you are the go-to. You need to take it on. I've been uh, in that position as well. I put myself in that position where you take on too much, and it hurts you in the long run. Take some time for yourself. Be willing to say no. I can't help you right now as well. No is not a no. I can't help you right now, but give me some time. But yes, it has happened, and yeah, it's good to take a break once in a while. Huh?
So what is the solution for this architecture called mental issues?
You know, it's different for everyone. I suppose you have to understand the solution, you have to understand yourself. And I suppose taking time to understand yourself first, whether that be through meditation, you have to know who you are, what breaks you, what agitates you, what makes you happy. And once you find all of that, then while working, and this is not for solutions architects, this is for anyone in any environment. And a lot of people work, we all work because we have to put food on the table and a roof over our head. Sometimes we don't end up doing what we love. We just end up doing something for the sake of doing it. And what takes you away? Shutting down from work is always a good thing. Whether it be switching off your cell phone when you come home, that you don't take emails anymore, whether it be whether it be gym, running, any sort of social activity, sporting. People have different coping mechanisms. Like I said, whatever best suits you. Uh, I like to switch off by playing video games, going online, or maybe watching series and just like not thinking about anything. Just I mean, it sometimes it works for me where I can watch a 30-minute or 20-minute series, one episode, and I'll laugh, I'll enjoy the entire show, and then after the show you ask me what happened, and I'll be like, I don't know what happened, because I was just using it as something to just clear my mind of everything else that went on maybe during the day. That's my. So I wasn't really paying attention. I was just like trying to clear myself. Um, that's what I'd use. I play sport quite a bit as well. So whatever just takes my mind off whatever it is I'm doing. And like I said, everybody has their own way of dealing with it. Also having a good support structure, good people around you, whether that be friends, family, work colleagues, mentors, mentees, good leadership around you also goes a long way in helping, especially in a work environment, to keep a good leadership is a key factor in sustaining good mental health within organizations. So be careful of what you look for. You might look for a job with a job description and a title and a salary. Take some time to know people. Take some time to look around the environment. See who you're dealing with, who's interviewing you, who's going to be your direct reporting, your direct management. The company might be great. You might be going to work for a great company, but your immediate management might not be the best, and it can ruin the experience for you, whether you work in whichever company. If your direct management can ruin an experience of a great company with great other leadership around. So So be cognizant of that. Be very careful of not to chase titles and money all the time. It could land you in a lot of trouble. Sometimes that 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 salary might not be worth the mental health that goes with it. You're not paying me enough to do this. When I say that it's not the actual work, you're not paying me enough to deal with all of this mental, everything that goes with it. Giving up weekends, giving up evenings, giving up family time, missing social events. I'm not getting paid enough to do all of this. So it's a whole, take all of that into consideration. But yeah.
So one last question. So tell me what worked for you to be successful, and whatever the success that you got in this 7 years as a solution architect, what worked?
What worked was hard work, putting your head down, and seizing opportunities. I seized an opportunity that I had. I stepped up when no one else would step up, and that's it. Seize the opportunity. If there's an opportunity, put in that extra work, go that extra mile. Give up that weekend. Give up that one night of watching Netflix. Give up that one night of going out. Or sacrifice, and taking opportunity and sacrifice is what will get you there, and hard work, and also don't make the mistake of, once you've reached a certain goal, don't stop. Keep putting in those hours, keep putting in the effort. Maybe you can put in not as much, but keep always going at it, always working hard, always improving, and always learning. Don't ever be closed off to learning. And when I say learning, as you move through the stages in your career, don't ever look down upon somebody else coming through the ranks. And if there's somebody that you might think is on a lower rank, or for whatever reason they might be a junior or an intermediate, don't look down on their opinion, and try and take and listen to them as well, because you can learn a lot from them. And that will keep you successful going forward, is knowing that whether you sit as a CEO or whether you sit all the way at the lowest level, whatever the lowest level might be in terms of technology, or even, whoever else is in the organization, just be willing to take in from all of them and learn from all of them. And that will keep you successful. Stay humble, though. Always stay humble, learn, and just keep putting in the effort.
So as a keen observer, as a person who is deep into logical thinking, what do you say about my work? Have you seen any previous work on my YouTube channel or podcast?
I've just started to see what you started doing. I've seen. Have you started at AWS? Have you started as an intern as well? Is that so? Are you working towards this? I can see you trying to gain a lot of information, which is good. I saw a couple of the videos of what you've done on your channel. It's quite diverse, which is quite good. What you should take from all of that, people will be, but you're trying to get into solutions architect. Why are you interviewing all types of different people? What will happen is, when you're designing solutions, you'll be meeting all types of different people. And it's nice to get an understanding, and what you are doing is getting an appreciation for different types of people, different walks of life, what people want, what their understanding of technology is, what their use of technology is. So what you are doing can only help you going forward in the type of career that you want to pursue. And whoever else starts watching your channel can then start learning from these different aspects. And maybe they might find their niche in something that you're doing. So it's quite a good thing that you're doing, whether it's for your self-growth or for helping others. I think both. It's very good that what you're doing. And I will be keeping an eye on your channel and having a look at what else you start bringing through, and who else you start bringing through. So I look forward to it, and then I hope to also look forward to like having conversations with you further. I mean, whether it be via email or any other communications, if you have any questions about anything, just, feel free to drop a line, not let this be the end of whatever it is. Who knows? We might see each other down the line in the technology space somewhere. You never know. It's technology has made this a small world right now. I mean, look at where you're interviewing me from. So, you know, oh,
So yeah, thank you very
keep
much for yeah, gone.
keep doing what you're doing, and good luck to you, and good luck to everything out there. And I hope it really works out for you, and I hope you can continue this passion while you delve forward into your professional career, in terms of what you're trying to achieve there. But don't lose focus on this. It will be difficult. It's not going to be easy to juggle the passion and trying to get into a professional environment. But keep going. Don't stop. It's going to be, but go for it. And I really do admire what it is that you are doing.
Whenever you're free in future, I will come with new questions with the practical experiences of mine when it comes
No,
to the tech part. So definitely,
but
I'm a cloud AWS cloud solution architect training right now. So I don't know much about it, but I've understood a lot of things about cloud from you right now.
as you'll also tend to understand, you'll get to experience that technology, learn a lot about that technology, and again, as being an architect also comes with a lot of trial and error. Like I said, just getting a paper doesn't mean you know everything. It's putting certain pieces together. Hey, this fits, that fits, this doesn't fit. Okay, they say this fits, but hey, wait a minute, that fits better because I know a little bit more about it. And as you gain and you ask people questions. Sometimes just sit with someone that's doing something else and ask them, what are you doing? Why are you doing it that way? And they go sit with someone else, but why are you doing it differently to how he does it? Is it quicker? Is it not? Do you prefer this style? Ask those. Just ask questions. Be out. Just ask questions. Learn. Soak it all up. Soak it all in, and you'll get there eventually. Just be inquisitive. Be very inquisitive. Even if it comes across annoying to the other people, just keep going. Keep going for it. Just ask the question. Don't be afraid to say you don't know either, or you don't, or if they're explaining something to you, don't be afraid to say, I don't understand. Can you maybe physically show me or explain it to me in pictures? Or don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to ask. Always learn and grow. Yeah.
Yeah. So the call was disconnected because my battery was low last time.
No, not a problem. Yeah, it's just difficult to get a hold of me, but it's fine.
So thank you very much for giving me your valuable time and telling about the solutions architect position and the work a solution architect do.
No, not a problem. Anytime. Told you I'm always here. Even if you need questions later. I mean, even a follow up, who knows where I'll be in a year's time. So new lessons learned over a year cannot quickly happen especially in the IT industry. A lot changes in a year. So yeah, might have some more insights.
So you are the first person with like 7 years experience who participated in my show, which means for me it is a you're a very experienced person.
I've been around in IT a lot longer than that, but yes. But there are people. I mean, I've worked with people more experienced than me. I've learned from them. I've worked with people with less experience, and I've learned a lot from them as well. So, like I told you, it's just about learning from everyone. Sometimes you can have a lot of years of experience, but you could be doing the same thing and not opening yourself up to new ideas. So don't always be fooled if somebody has a lot of experience that they have a broad range of knowledge as well. So in your years, also try and expand. Don't stay singularly focused. Just expand on whatever knowledge you can acquire. Make those years count, if you know what I mean. So yeah.
So there will be people who are already into solution architect, and there will be people who wants to who are coming into this position. So do you have anything to say to them?
As I say, keep an open mind as a solutions architect. Be open to new ideas. Lots of times people get caught up, become very single-minded in their way is the right way, or their way is the only way. And the best I can say is be open to new possibilities, to new fresh ideas. Take it forward. It might not be now, might not be the time, but never shut anybody down, and always be open as a solutions architect. Be open to criticism. Be open to people. Like I said, one of the skills people um, uh, overlook when it becomes a solutions architect is the soft skills. You still need to be a people's person, and just keep that in mind. People will always be a big part of what you do. Though you are technology driven, keep in mind what you are doing and why you are doing it. Why do you want to be a solutions architect? What's the purpose of it? How is that going to bring happiness, or what is that going to do for you? And the point is, as being a solutions architect, you're not just putting technology down and making a quick buck at the end of the day. You're designing a solution that's going to fix someone's problem. It's going to make someone's life easier. It's going to help other people out, and by getting the satisfaction that you're doing that, try and keep that in mind as well. uh, it's about making people's lives better, and making a process better. Just making, I mean, it's a small thing. You could take 10 minutes of a menial task of someone has to do every day, and you can automate that, and take joy in that, and that person will always be thinking in the back of my mind, this has made my job so much easier. And take that, work towards that. Don't just look at solutions architect as, have a passion for it. Go towards it, because you want to deliver better solutions. You want to make people happy. You want to change the industry. You want to make a difference, and you can start by those small changes, making small differences to people's lives, and that can go bigger. As the organization, it could go through the organization, and then eventually you could turn an entire organization around with the solution that you design. So keep all of that in mind. As yeah, that's what I'd say.
So at last, what is your observation on my work? Have you seen any videos of mine on YouTube?
I have seen a few of your videos, and it's quite interesting. It's quite interesting of the scope and breadth of people that you've managed to get in contact with. I mean, it's not just in the IT field, and it's quite interesting. Like I said, I'm going to keep an eye on it. I am going to see how you evolve as a person. Once your IT career starts going forward and you start prospering, you'll see your mindset changes as well. So yeah, I'd like to see that progression. So as I said, it's still new, but I'd like to see some growth. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to your growth. I'm looking forward to how you interpret, because all of the interviews and stuff that you've done with people, they come from their own bias, and I come from my own bias and my own background that's led me, down this path. So, I'd like to see the way that you take what everybody has told you or what you've spoken about, and how you make it your own. Don't necessarily copy someone, but take whatever people have said and then make that your own. And I'm really interested to see how you progress through that. I'm quite interested to see your technology website grow, and I'd like to see what grows on that website, and the type of stuff that you're putting out there, and how it evolves. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to all of that. So, and I wish you well, and I hope you keep doing it.
So this is a best video, and the quality and the informative videos on of compared to in all my collection video. So I feel very great and very good to send and to put this kind of information in public and show to people. Can I put this video and audio clip on my YouTube channel, social media,
Yeah.
and
No, go
internet
ahead.
podcast with your
No,
permission?
perfect. Yeah, that's perfect. Go ahead. That's fine. That was the point of it. So yeah, go ahead and do that. I mean, always willing to share the information. It's nothing. It's not a secret to anyone. I mean, that's what the internet is there for, and this is what you're doing. And like I said, keep doing it and learn from it. I mean, maybe there was one thing in everything that I said that you pick up and make it your own, but do that. And incorporate everything that you've learned from everyone, or what take from something from everyone, and build, and you'll see your character will develop as you go along, and you've got a documentation of where you started, because you have these videos now, and you can see from where you started. Maybe in a year or two, do follow-ups with the same people uh, that you've had previous engagements with. Maybe a year, maybe 2 years from now, do a follow-up with them. As you grow, as your channel grows, as you take a different path or different direction, touch base and see how the people that you've reached out to, have a look at how their paths in life have changed. That might also be beneficial. So it's not just a once-off. You've done it once, and thanks for coming. Yeah, have a look. Maybe add that. Maybe that could be something that you could do further down the line. As I said, as you grow and progress through the stages of this part of your life. This stage of your life. So, yeah.
So definitely, I'll be ready whenever you want to be on my show. But you're a very busy person. You'll be doing your own things in your life.
No, but just drop me a line, and then I'll make time. As I said, so I can get quite busy some days.
Okay.
But yeah, we can always make time. Make time today. Just today will be a short one, but like if you need a longer
Okay.
session, then
Okay.
I'll definitely make the time, and then we can do it much earlier. What time is it? What time is it
It's
where you are?
now it's 8 p.m. in India.
Oh, it's 8 p.m. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's not too bad. It's about 4:30 here, so it's okay. Like we can start earlier, but we can arrange those dates again. That's not a problem. As things move and develop as well, we can work around times. Not a problem.
So you are a solution architect in Microsoft, right?
Well, I specialize in Microsoft, so it's Office 365, Azure, some .NET, but yeah, it's mainly around Microsoft products.
Okay.
So not AWS yet, but we will work towards that. As I said, you're never too old as well to learn something new, and you always have to be open to new possibilities. So that is something that I will be looking at going into this year, um,
Okay.
as well as completing quite a few certifications as the year goes on. So yeah, it's going to be an exciting year. So let's see what happens. Let's see how it
I'll
develops.
next time, if possible, I'll come with the AWS services, which I'm preparing for. I'm a trainee now, solution architect trainee in AWS. So I have a big number of topics, and it looks like it is similar to the Microsoft solution architect. What you said is it's the same, I think, the base.
It is. It is the same. They offer similar services. They have different names, different scalabilities, but it's more or less the same. Like I said, once you get the terminology down, you know what they're talking about. Containers, serverless architecture, infrastructure as a service,
Yeah, yeah.
PaaS, just SaaS, all of this. So as you go through all of that, infrastructure as code, software as a service, you'll realize it's very similar. Um, you might use different software, but it boils down to more or less the same thing. So sometimes when you go, like you're learning on AWS, sometimes try and step out of when you build a solution. Don't put like um, a software down with it, or don't put a technology down in terms of Microsoft or AWS. Build a solution and try and build it in your head. And when you put it down on paper, exactly the process of what you want it to do. And once you become like agnostic of technology, then you can always port your solution to Microsoft, to Google, to AWS. It doesn't matter. if you know exactly what it is you're doing. So yeah, you got to think like that. That's it.
So thank you again. I'll contact you soon. When you are
Nope,
free, we'll talk about the AWS services and the terminology that are used in AWS.
not a problem. You can, yeah, we can catch up and then we can compare with the two. What Azure is for the similar service, what AWS is for the similar service, and then we can exchange information like that, and so people will have an
Yeah,
understanding
yeah,
of the two services. I think
yeah,
that's so. As you go through, just drop me a message on LinkedIn
yeah,
or Skype. Sometimes I'm on, but yeah, just get me through on LinkedIn. We'll take it from there.
yeah.
Okay.
Sure, definitely, sir. Thank you very much again for giving me your valuable time and your the valuable information, which is very useful for a lot of people, tech people.
Thank you for having me and thank you for listening. And
Yeah,
we'll chat again soon. Keep in
yeah.
touch. Okay.
Sure,
Enjoy your evening. Thanks.
sure, sir.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.